Now, this is going to be a follow-up to our video on inflation is here. We want to explain how single-family homes will allow you to make a lot of money in this time frame. I want to reiterate the fact that we see inflation. Now, there's a lot have been said that are we in inflationary, is it transitory? Is this an inflationary cycle? Now, if it isn't transitory, it looks to me like we could easily have this for 9, 12, 15, 18 months and still be transitory. Now, once you get into these inflationary periods, you get to have an inflationary spiral. They kind of feed on each other, and a lot has been said about the supply chain. And of course, when you get a supply chain, that means things are scarce. We're also having problems with fuel because of scarcity as well. And it drives the price up. So as fuel goes up, the truckers have to pay more money to deliver the goods. They have to raise their prices. When they raise their prices, the people who are selling the goods have to raise their prices, and so on and so on. Gets to be an inflationary spiral, so it kind of feeds on itself. So that looks like what we're entering into. But even if it's transitory, 12, 15, 18 months gives you a lot of opportunity with which to make a lot of money. Now, further, we've got a government that's talking about adding trillions and trillions of dollars. Now, they're talking about 1.5 trillion and add another 1.5 or $2 trillion. Now, this is where the math starts. We talked about how in an inflationary period like we're in now, you can make a lot of money. Here is what has happened in the last 12 months here in Phoenix, Arizona. Keep in mind, we went up 33% across the board, but a lot of our properties went up a lot more than that. And we're charged with trying to get our clients into the areas that are going to get the greatest capital gains. We want to put them into where the vectors of demographics are at and give them the most bang for their buck, so to speak. Now, this is where someone who's just starting out can really make a lot of money. So that's kind of who we're talking about today. So most of our investors are going to put 20 to 30% down. This is just what they have to do to get financing today. Now, there are times we talk about cash and half down, but once you start getting into an inflationary period, we start talking about using leverage because we're in an inflation, of course. You're paying back your debt in much cheaper dollars, so you get a lot more bang for your buck again. It's such a great phrase. Now, here's what happens if you put 20% down and you got a 30% appreciation. Keep in mind, we did much better than that in a lot of our properties. However, across Phoenix, they got 33, so I'm going to get it down to 30 because it's much easier for us. So if you put 20% down and had 30% appreciation, your down payment, because that's the money that you have, that down payment went up 150%. So you got a lot of money. Now, here is where people who are just starting out can really make the money. So you're going to go into a very crowded field because there's a lot of investors that are also recognizing the fact that you can make a lot of money in an inflationary period. Now, if you're just starting out, it is so hard to come up with money. I know that. Believe me, I know that. I came from very humble beginnings. So when you're making money, you have a lot of money pressures. You've got to pay for lodging and rent, and you got to pay for your mortgage payments. You got to pay for your car payments. You've got food and clothes and school, and you have kids. So that wage that you get, that income that you have coming in, gets whittled down a lot. And in the meantime, you really need to save money for down payment and investment money. It becomes very difficult, really hard to get a nest egg put together. You know, to get $50,000, $100,000 is really hard. That first 50 or 100 grand, really hard for you to do. I understand it. So this is geared to you, so you can see how to do this in this type of frame. So let me go to my next slide, and let's talk about that. So when you put 5% down and get that same 30% appreciation, you've gotten a huge boost. So you've gotten 600% return on your capital. Now, as an investor, investors are going to get cash flow. They're going to get tax savings. They're going to get a lot of benefits that you as an owner and a first-time home buyer probably aren't going to get. Let me talk about the first-time home buyer. This is a very, very difficult market for you to get involved in. I want you to go out and buy a property. Now, I talk about these houses. Now, I happen to own this property. Now, in this neighborhood, I'm going to use some of the examples that just happened, homes that have just sold in the last 18 months, so that you get a real-life, real-time example. Now, this property I own. I don't want to talk about the neighbors' houses, but they're all the same floor plan. They're 1,570 square feet. They're in North Phoenix, very, very nice neighborhoods. But you can see these all over America. There are tens of thousands of them here in Phoenix, Arizona. This would be a very, very typical property in a really good neighborhood, good schools, good transportation, good shopping, close in, and you can get plenty of these. Now, let me just go to what we're talking about here. Now, that house down the street sold for a 1,570 square foot property. It's the same model. Now, they changed the elevation. Now, each one of these houses is going to age differently. You always keep that in mind. So this is where you get a good realtor or a good property manager, or a good financial advisor that get out and take a look at these properties and knows what they're looking at. But this property down the way sold in July of 2020. So this is November of 2021. So we're talking about 15 months ago. 15 months ago, sold for $310,000. Now, if you'd have put 5% down for your down payment, now there are other costs involved, I know that. So $310,000 with 5% down. Now, this is direct equity position for you. So that down payment, your loan amount is going to be $15,500 less. But your equity that you've put into it, your down payment, this is where you've been saving all your money. You've gotten $15,500. Now, here's the magic when you start getting into an inflationary period, when you start seeing prices really start to move. Now, this is right out of our timing model. If you've been following our work, we've been telling you this is going to happen. It's happening now. So that very, very same floor plan, like 5 doors away, it's the same house, it's the same age, it's the same upgrades to it. That just sold for $457,000 in October of 2021. A gain of $147,000 for this person that bought 18 months early. $147,000. That's $10,000 a month that you've earned in equity. How in the world do you, who've been really working all your extra hours, trying to scrimp and save, you're trying to put money together, you finally get a down payment, and once you make that purchase and you get an investment like a single family home in the accumulation phase, you're getting $10,000 a month in equity buildup. Where do you go to get that? You put $15,500 down, and miraculously 15 months later that has grown to $160,000, $165,000 in 15 months. How do you do this? You're on your way to retiring. Maybe you're 30 years old and you just made this great investment. So that's $16,500. Now all of a sudden you've got $160,000 in equity. That's called one of our conversion strategies. If you follow my work and follow my books, you're gonna see one of those strategies in there. So here you're done. You've made one property, you made $160,000 on one property. You're on your way to retiring, but you only have one property. How about you do it a couple times? That would be part of our conversion strategy. Now, there is some risk to this. Now, that's why I want you to always talk to someone who knows what's going on. I'd like you to consult your financial advisor. You're always welcome to contact us. We do analysis on all the properties. We do calculations on everything that we buy. And you're welcome to reach us at michael@michaeldouville.com, or you can call my corporate office if you'd like. Now, the risk is that you might over leverage, and we're going to go into my timing model on this. We want you to never, ever jeopardize the asset. Now, keep in mind, this is for an owner-occupied only. Investors need to put 20 to 25% down. You need to talk to your mortgage professional and find out how what your down payment requirements are for you. But 5% down is for owner occupied. It gives you great leverage. But also keep in mind, when you're in a position like this, you have very, very little equity in the first beginning. So we never want to risk the asset itself. So I want to talk about the timing model. The timing model has been deadly accurate, but does not necessarily mean it's going to continue to be accurate. One of the risks, again, is that we have the timing model. And you have a government that's talking about another shutdown. They're talking about restricting business. So that's what we call a Mad Max event. Sometimes things that are outside of our control. We have no idea what's going to happen with this, and sometimes you can see that in 2019 we were expecting a recession and the government obliged us. But that was the timing. We expected that. We don't expect one now, but on our timing model can get thrown off if we have a government that really throws things in and we have another shutdown. So that's the risk model. I don't see that happening at the moment, but of course that's a risk, and I'm talking to you as a first-time novice. I want you to understand the risk that you're running, and we never, ever, ever want to jeopardize your assets. And let's discuss that. This has moved up. These are distinct phases. Typically, this is running about 24 to 30 months. I think we now have in the accumulation phase. This is the accumulation phase. We're still in it. I think we're moving along that time continuum. I think we probably have no more than about 9 to 12 months in the actual accumulation phase. So as you start going into the explosive phase, which is what I expect us to go into, I don't believe we're into that now. Once we're into the explosive phase, you're going to see prices really skyrocket. So this is where leverage really, really works. Now, as you go up this time continuum, we need to start thinking of winnowing out properties out of our portfolio. This is where, when you start getting up to here, we're going to alert you on that. When we get up around here, we're going to be looking at individual portfolios, and we're going to be removing some of the leverage. In other words, we're going to be selling properties that are in our portfolio and paying off debt. That's part of the strategy. So I want you to understand, when you enter into this, that there is a complete strategy. So we want to be complete cycle investors. So we understand that things go up, come down, but we want to benefit on all sections of the economy. So this is why when you're in the accumulation phase and you are a beginner, sometimes you want to buy 2 properties with the intent that we're going to sell one of those and pay down the debt on the other one. Maybe we refinance, maybe we get really lucky and pay the entire debt off. That way, when we finish this, now we're still years away from where this is at, but this is going to happen. This has happened all the time, so we just need to be aware of it. You know, when you get up here, you can go ahead and sell those properties. And if you had 2, maybe you sell the other property and you pay your entire debt load off. Now, that would be really, really cool, because we are going to move up the time continuum. And there are places in here where things really, this is the explosive phase, where things are really, really selling. We want to be selling some of our portfolio as well. So again, there's a little bit of risk. As you go up your leverage, we don't want you leveraging it when you're up here. We quit buying up here. We're selling what we need to sell here, and we are no longer leveraging. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come down as stylized as this is. However, it does quit going up. So this is when it finishes, and we need to be aware. So each one of these, we have a specific strategy for it. So in the moment, you can go ahead and leverage. I would always be careful with your leverage. Make sure it makes sense. You know, if we're talking about for first-time home buyers that you're looking at these properties, that you can afford the property that you're getting into, I would look for properties that maybe have some, you can do some value add. So maybe some properties that you can go in and change out the cabinets, change the kitchen, change the countertops, change some flooring, put some lighting in, and over time add some value to it and have some intrinsic increases in the value of the property as well. So this gives you some value add situations. Easy to find. Work with a good broker. You're welcome to work with us. We're more than happy to do that. But here in Arizona, of course, we're the number one market in the United States. Thank you, California. You're sending us some wonderful entrepreneurs and IT people. Thank you for that. And it doesn't look like it's anytime ready to stop. So we are licensed here. And if we can help you in any way, we certainly can. I want to tell you that if you like my videos, give me a big thumbs up. Subscribing to our channel really helps. It's amazing how YouTube looks at that. The more subscribers you get, the more marketing you get. Now, we've been talking about the fact of leveraging in and being a first-time buyer and just getting involved in your first real estate investment. Real estate investing for beginners is going to take you by the hand and really help you. If you're already into it, How to Create a Real Estate Money Machine and Retire with Income is going to be a pretty good motivator for you. So these are both books. Money Machine, of course, is available all over the world. Investors for Beginning, Real Estate Investing for Beginners is really just available at Amazon. We have syndicated that around. And you are welcome to reach me at michael@michaeldouville.com. My very, very best to you. If we can help in any way, you're welcome.